Now, what this series is about is this comment right here. Now, it's kind of hard to blend in and be just down and out as everyone else if we are the only ones with a running vehicle. So, we're going to have to set our vehicle up to blend in as well and to be a derelict just like all the other vehicles around until we need it. Hopefully you've seen the previous Grayman videos and how you and your family have got to act, you've got to dress, your hygiene, all of that to blend in with everyone around you. And it's going to be no different with your vehicle that may be running. You may have it like this here. This is my main bug-out vehicle because it is EMP proof. But the thing is, I don't want anyone to know that should something like that occur, that this is still running. So the first thing I have to do is make it look like a derelict vehicle. Got to lose its shine. It's going to have to sit here nice and quiet until I'm ready for it. And then when I'm ready for it, it's not going to be able to blend in anymore. It's going to be noticeable and noisy because it may be the only vehicle on the road. So the first thing we're going to start with is blending this truck in. Should there be an EMP? And we want to make sure no one is suspicious that this thing will still run. Yes, honey, I absolutely understand that there will be a lot of these pre-computer vehicles left over and running after an EMP. And had you looked up here and noticed, you would see that this was part of a series. And what is this series about? It's about pre-computer cars that are left running after an EMP. Now, what I'm here discussing is these people foolish enough to continue driving their cars after an EMP to run out of fuel, they'll break down, or they will simply be taken from you by people that need a running vehicle. That's why, if we're not planning on escaping anywhere and staying at home, we want to make our bug-out vehicle look like a derelict, make it so it can't run at all until we absolutely need it. And if that's weeks or even months down the road, by then, there's hardly going to be any other vehicles on the road. So yes, when you and your family have to escape in that vehicle that you had hidden away in plain sight, I guarantee you, you will be nearly the only vehicle. What are we talking about? We're talking about the event during an EMP, electromagnetic pulse. It's when a nuclear warhead is detonated a few miles above the atmosphere, say for instance over America. It will totally collapse the grid, the internet. It will kill anything that has a CPU, processor, computer chips. All electronics will be dead, including vehicles that have these in them as well, except for pre-computer vehicles, the ones that don't have all the electronic stuff like that, like my truck, for instance. The only thing left in there, which runs electricity is the alternator and the battery, which won't be affected. Let's discuss the car situation. It is believed that if an EMP hit, most all cars would be dead in the water due to having the processors, computer chips, and all that burned up. The government did do an experiment on 10 updated cars with the computers and all that in there. They put them in an EMP simulator, cranked them all up, and while they were running, they blasted them with the EMP. All of them shut down, and I believe they went in there, disconnected all the batteries, waited a while, connected them back, and something like 6 or 7 of them started right back up. Another one ran kind of rough, but 2 of them wouldn't run altogether. They refused to tell what make and model they were. I've got a theory on that. My theory is, and it's a theory, didn't read it anywhere, it's my opinion, is that they started back up because they just have to have the computers and stuff reset. But in my opinion, the bodies were more than likely all metal, which turned them into more or less a Faraday cage. What's a Faraday cage? It's a box specifically built to keep radiation and EMPs from blasting what's inside. For instance, your microwave is one, just in reverse. Keeps everything from being blasted outward. Because of that theory, that's why I have an 87 truck, diesel. I have 2 updated cars that are fully loaded, but when I bought them, I made sure the bodies were all metal. If we're going to try to stay in our homes during an event like an EMP, but we know we have a running vehicle, we don't ever want to start this thing at all after the event until we're ready to use it. But one thing you need to start doing is reconnaissance. Start getting out when you're talking to your neighbors, getting news, finding out what's going on. Remember, you got to act just as ignorant as everyone else and that you don't know what's happening. but you want to see if you can get any information on how the roads are, where the blocks, the traffic tie-ups, the cars that have crashed, because you're going to have to build in your mind and make notes that when you finally do use your vehicle to get out of town, you got to know which roads are available for you and that aren't clogged up. I'm just dying to answer this comment here because obviously this person has never seen my other videos. There were several of them that I've made about keeping the proper amount of gas in your tank at all times to get you from home to wherever your safety spot is for you and your family. Let's not forget about stored gas. If you've seen my recent videos on my bug-out vehicles, you know just how much gas I have to get me wherever I need to go. So don't let comments like this get you down. Keep the proper amount of gas in the tank at all times to get you from point A to point B. And if you, after an EMP, if your car's going to be sitting for a few months, make sure you have on hand a good gas stabilizer to put in the tank and any stored gas that you're not going to be using for a while. My home is set deep in the woods. And if there is an EMP, I really don't have to worry much about hiding my truck. Although, even though my nearest neighbor is a quarter-mile away, I still have to let the truck remain silent because it's a diesel, and we all know what diesels do when you crank them up. They get noisy. And my neighbor a quarter-mile away can easily hear this truck cranking up. Also, if we use this truck to escape whatever danger there is that's running us off our property, one of the biggest problems we're going to have going down the road is letting people a mile ahead of us know we're coming, that there's a running vehicle heading this way, and that could set my family and I up for danger as well because they could try to entrap us and take the vehicle and our lives. But that's why I have a little solution for that as well. If my wife and I and the dogs and other animals need to escape, we're going to want to leave as quiet and stealthy as possible. And of course, that's not possible at all as long as this truck can be heard from a mile away. So what I'm planning on doing, just like any other diesel, you can see how wide the exhaust is on this thing. I'm planning on putting dual exhaust on it and making it as quiet as possible. Now, before a bunch of you come on here and start reminding me of the power that I'm going to be reducing on the truck, yes, it will reduce power, however, not that much. And the roads are still going to be torn up, messed up. I'm not going to be able to pick up a lot of speed anyway. So the main thing I'm looking for leaving my home and creeping down these roads is stealthiness. There's no stealthiness at all if people can hear me coming a mile away. Woke up to this question here this morning and loved it. If you don't own one of the trucks like he's talking about, or one of mine which has what's called a 6.9 International, or you're not familiar with them, although it's a serious question, it's a lot of humor in there because these engines are loud, very loud. The main reason I'm doing the exhaust, because the exhaust is absolutely loud because it's straight pipe, and it will quiet the truck down some. But as Colwell and Country's pointed out, that once I hit the road and I start picking up speed, you'll be able to hear this engine probably from a mile away. Very loud engines. And yeah, I will lose a lot of my stealthiness from that. After an EMP, if you're not sure if your car is going to start or not, wait till you're absolutely sure no one is around and no one can hear it. Then go out there and try it. If it doesn't turn over, disconnect your battery for a couple minutes and then reconnect it and see what happens. If it doesn't start up, it's dead in the water. If it does start up, shut it down immediately. Pull the battery out of your car if you're not going to be leaving within the next week or two, because if it's going to cause me sitting there for a length of time, you don't want the battery to drain. What you want is one of these solar trickle chargers from Amazon or Freight Harbor. They're between $15 to $20. Set it out in the sun and hide your battery somewhere, hook it up, and let this trickle charger keep a full charge in your battery at all times for when you need it. But I do need you to keep this in mind. If you've got a running vehicle after an EMP and you're not planning on leaving right away, make damn sure your neighbors or whoever it is around you does not know about that vehicle, because they're going to expect you to take their family as well when you leave, regardless if you've got room or not. If you don't, they're going to try to take that vehicle. If they can't take the vehicle, you can be guaranteed that they're going to tell everyone around them that you've got a running vehicle, and you're going to have a mob in your front yard that's going to put you and your family in danger.